Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the Darkest Timeline. And today on the Darkest Timeline, we are talking about back pain, ending a fast, cooking shows, and then it's straight into the TV, the movies, the video games, all of that sort of stuff. Obviously, I will say, as with the last couple of episodes, we are talking about a subject that may be triggering to some people. I do cover the triggering side of things, but just be aware, if you are somebody who is affected by certain things, you may want to consider that when listening to this episode. Before we start, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review. And obviously the big one there is share the podcast around. It's a big help to the podcast and we all appreciate it. So yes, thank you. Right, let's get started. Here we go. This is CookieCast, the Darkest Timeline. Hello, how you doing? Very sing-songy there. I was trying to hide the fact that I just had a big sneezing fit and then sounded super bunged up, so I was trying to cover it up. I don't know what it was. Started to wonder if I'd remembered to take my hay fever stuff, which I'm not sure now I think about it. How you doing? You well? How's your week treating you? How's life treating you? That's the real big one, isn't it? I hurt my back. It's a common occurrence, or at least it had been for a very long time. Even when I was like a teenager, back problems would ensue. First time I ever had reflexology. After that I swore by it because it sorted out my back pain. And over the years, it's been a thing. Back hurts. I will have mentioned it multiple times on this podcast. But this one ties into another subject. So, let me move. I always do this. I start and then move. I should move and then start. So, I'm in the gym, as is a thing, and I'm putting down some dumbbells that I've just used, and what I felt was the top 3/4 of my back basically shift forward on the lower quarter of my back. I'm working on the principle that I'm pretty sure everybody here knows what a spine looks like. It felt like the discs, like one had sort of slipped forward on top of the one below it. It was the weirdest feeling I think I've ever had, especially in one of these scenarios. And that was kind of that, basically. A previous bad back incident could have been avoided. Happened in the gym. Happened doing a particular exercise, and I felt a twinge. And then continued doing another 2 sets of said exercise. Back went. Leanne was heavily pregnant at the time, and she was the one helping me put my socks on days before she was due to have a baby. Being in the gym and knowing that was a previous issue, problem, whatever, I had to bear that in mind. Switched exercises, took more care, more rest, more whatever. However, that does tie into one of my other subjects to talk about. So, I had to think, well, why? Why has this happened now? The question being, what is the reason? Now, I work with a principal, and this might sound a bit weird, I suppose, is maybe the way of putting it. It might sound somewhat arrogant, possibly, but I know a series of people who have a series of different back problems, and as somebody who has suffered with back problems in the past, I know what that's like. I know how debilitating it can be, what a pain it can be, what an issue it can be, etc., how it can affect your life. However, I have done a series of things to put myself in a position where I am what I would consider myself to be in the best possible position to not exacerbate or cause back problems at this point in time. A variety of different exercises that I do are designed around trying to make sure that my back is as strong as it can possibly be in a particular area to reduce the chance of back problems. Now then, obviously the first thought that springs to mind is, so why did it happen? And I had to go through that myself. Why has this happened at this point in time? And my fear was, obviously the last couple of weeks we've been talking about the fact that I've been doing a version of a water fast. And basically my biggest fear, being somebody that works out a lot, was that ultimately my body was going to decide that I didn't need any of the muscle mass and would just start eating it. And that was not the point. It was not the idea. It was not what I wanted. And ultimately, if that had become the case, I would have then been like, we are done here. So I had to wonder, were the two things related? Had I weakened my lower back muscles to a level where it would allow me to hurt myself, hurt my back, and that may have been a sign that that sort of thing was going on. So that was potentially a catalyst for the fact that that fast has now ended. It was a bit of a long story around having all the children for the bank holiday weekend and getting to the end of Monday and being like, I haven't done a workout, but I'm wiped out, and it's up there as least favourite thing to do. But in the end, I made the executive decision to miss a workout, and some might say stupidly, decided I would do 2 workouts on the Tuesday, which funnily enough resulted in the back problem. So, Tuesday came and went. I managed to get both workouts done. Back problem. etc., etc. And basically from there, it was a decision to end that fast. So, from a weight perspective, on the Monday, I'd lost £1 from the Sunday. I had a dehydration headache and was fearing a lack of nutrients. And this is where things started to waver, I think I would say. Tuesday, day after last week's podcast, I put weight on. It was 0.2 of a pound, but it was still weight on. I had a problem where I started wanting to eat just everything, which had been not as much of an issue up to that point, but on that day it was bad. My muscles were hurting and I'd hurt my back, and I think at that point I could kind of see I could see the end. I could see the horizon sort of thing. So come Wednesday, I lost the 0.2 of a pound, and that was the point in time where I ate something. I think it was a cup of soup, which to say I ate something is not right. But obviously it was more than coffee or water. Thursday, lost 0.2 of a pound. Friday, lost nearly a pound on the Friday. Saturday, put on 0.2 of a pound. Sunday, put on nearly a pound. And today, exactly the same weight as yesterday, which is exactly the same weight as a week ago. Obviously, at this point in time, you have to look at a few factors, those factors being, obviously I'm not losing weight anymore, and hadn't been losing weight, and I'd gone back to consuming other things other than water and coffee. Those things were just cup of soups. I started to put in sort of like little noodle pots. One of the goals was to not put the weight back on, which to get a week where food had started coming back into the mix and not put weight on in a week. Yes, it's not ideal because I'm no longer losing weight, but I did consider it to be a win because one of my goals was to not put all the weight back on immediately. And I think after a week, I can probably say one of the goals had been achieved. So that brings us to the end of the fast. I want to talk about a multitude of things, but for want of a better way of putting it, honestly, I'm a little tired of having to sort of warn people about the subject, if I'm honest. And that's not me trying to be callous or anything of that sort of way or anything. It's just obviously I am on my own journey at the moment. I am now looking at the next phase. There were a series of phases which I basically, it's like there's in my head there's like 3 phases. I am in the second phase at this point in time, which my number one goal at this point in time is to get to some sort of level of not necessarily normal eating, but I want to be able to say I had plenty of water, continue with the coffee, and something along the lines of I had a cup of soup. I know, let's not get on to the nutritional benefits or lack of a cup of soup, but that's not what we're 100% here for right at this moment in time. And then I want to be able to say that I've eaten a meal, and that meal I want to be a salad with some protein and a little bit of fat. And the goal is to maintain that and come out the other side of that phase. Ideally, the same weight, or in a super ideal situation, less. So that's phase we're in at the moment. Day 1 has not gone well. And I'm going to come on to that in a second. I will say this much. If you've ever heard anybody, any famous podcasters, for example, say that the food you eat is poison and you're poisoning yourself, I'm here to tell you that it's 100% true. I have never felt more lethargic, unwell, just some sort of super weird shit, like uneasy, on edge, all sorts of like things like that, than I have in the last few days of adding food back into this diet. So yeah, that's really been an interesting sort of ride. So let's get on to the other stuff. The other stuff looks like this. I am not the first person to talk about this subject. Being on a diet, or being on a fast, or being on a weight loss journey of some description, and spending your entire time watching food videos. Weirdly, cooking shows. I have watched so many cooking shows. This is nothing new. This has been going on for a while. It's become a bit of a almost like a passion. But as with anything, I am quite susceptible to certain suggestions. And next thing, I'm like, I'm gonna cook a steak. I'm gonna cook something extravagant. Now, the problem I've got is I can't make anything new or different or anything like that for the children, because that's not a thing. And so the next person in line would be Leanne. She does not have any real interest in anything like that sort of thing. I'm like, I'm going to make you of this burger I saw on this program, and it's this and that and the other, and then you make this sauce, and she has no interest whatsoever. And that's it. I'm like, well, that's me done. So then I'm like, okay, well, what about this and this and this? So in the last few days, something that has kept me going and kept me sort of occupied. I did a little bit of baking, just a little bit. Reason being is I physically can't have bacon in the house. no real surprises as to why that might be. But I found a loophole. Make something that you know other people want. And here's the real key, make it well, make it good, make it really good so that they don't last. So I landed on scones, or scones if that's your way. Reason being is I know somebody who loves a scone. So I was like, right, okay. So all I need to do is go, I made some scones. Would you like one? And that takes care of. Realistically, if you're making a batch of scones, you're making 8 scones. If you know somebody who loves a scone, that's 2 straight out the door. If you have a child or a series of children that like a scone, 1, 2, 3, gone. Leanne, she'll take a scone off you. 4 plus 2, 6 of 8. The word gets out that there's a scone going. Somebody's going to come and take the other 2 off your hands, and they are gone. And done right, they're gone they're gone as they come out of the oven. I made a batch of scones a couple of weeks ago. My youngest daughter ate 2 of them whilst steam was still coming off them. She ate 1. She was like, that was really nice, can I have another one? Right. Yeah. Somebody who would consider themselves to be a bit of a aficionado. Is that the right word? Aficionado? Of the scone. Best scones ever, apparently. So, I cracked the code. It helped me mentally, physically, creatively, and I didn't have to worry about it because I knew they would go. They'd be gone. And it was fine. And it was great. And it was wonderful. And everything was working fine. And then I made another batch of scones. They went. Great, wonderful, brilliant, awesome, fantastic. But then there was a problem, okay? Then there was a problem. And the problem went something like this. I love to bake, and I love to be creative, and I love to challenge myself, and I love to be like, I've never made this before, but it's supposed to be the best thing in the world, so let's give it a whirl. Or I used to know somebody who used to make this, and it was the best thing in the world ever, so I want to make that, but I want to make it better, so I don't have to rely on that person, and I can just make it myself, and then I'm done. So the weekend just gone. I'm like, scones, yeah, I'll do a batch, but that's not what we're here for. What we're here for is I am going to make the most baked goods I can possibly make in a day. The number was 4. A batch of scones, a brownie, flapjack, and cookies. Each of these items was going to be a particular type. So chocolate orange brownie, fruit flapjack, and a plain and chocolate flapjack. And Leanne's been getting these cookies that seem to be like a bit of a craze at the moment, like a filled cookie, which from what I can work out is you make a cookie, you put something on top of it, and then you cover that item with more cookie dough. Bake it, and then you've got these like giant filled cookies. Didn't quite go according to plan because I didn't get 4 items made, but I did get 3 items made. A batch of fruit and cherry. Yes, I am aware cherry is a fruit. Fruit and cherry scones. Chocolate orange. Mini egg. Brownies. And a fruit flapjack. And a chocolate. A plain and chocolate flapjack. I didn't get to the cookies. There wasn't enough time. So, there we go. I'm like, right, I'm going to take some of these scones and I'll take some of the other bits and deliver them to one place. And I know somebody who will take some of the other stuff off my hands. That's great. And I'll see if the children want some of this. And Leanne might want some of that, and that's that. But because I made such volume, there was a lot. You can't escape it when you've made that much stuff. There was a lot. And I'm not eating at the moment, and I was like, I haven't had a single scone in all this time of making all these scones, and I can't make this brownie for the first time ever and not know what it tastes like. And who doesn't like a bit of flapjack? Yeah. Daddy, I really want you to try this scone. I can't, darling. I can't do that, I'm afraid. Daddy, I really want you to try this scone. I want you to know what it tastes like. You never have any. You should have some. I want you to try this scone. Please, Daddy, try this scone. I can't, darling. It's not what's going on for me at the moment. Okay, look, I'll tell you what. Just take that half, cut it in half, and cut it in half again, and then give me a tiny little piece. I just want a little bit so that I can say I've tasted it, so that you're happy and I'm happy and everyone's happy. What's that saying about the road to hell is paved with good intentions? So a scone, a brownie, and a piece of each flapjack later, and I'm like, this was not the plan. This is hands down the reason I can't have bacon in the house. This is the reason. This is it. Oh, honestly. Now, some people could argue, well, you didn't put any weight on. Well, you got me there. Didn't put any weight on. Didn't lose any either, though. And the question you've got to ask is, if I hadn't eaten those things, would I have lost some weight? We'll never know. Will we? Do you want to know something? This right here is what started the fast. This. All of this shit. This. Oh, I'm just going to have a little bit of this, and the next thing I'm, lying on my back like some kind of beached whale going, why did I eat that? No, I've got to go and get on the treadmill for the 3rd time today. Honestly, when you reach a point where you go, the problem is putting things in my mouth. So if I don't put things in my mouth, then I've won. When you reach that level, you might have a problem. So, yeah, I think it's safe to say there might be a problem. I keep telling myself it's some sort of weird, I had to get it out of my system. But that demon pig that lives inside me, I think he's got other ideas. So, I guess we'll see how that one's going to go, shall we? I've been trimming the fat. Not my fat, obviously. I've been trimming the fat on the podcast. There was a series of different things that came up over the last week. I was like, I might talk about that on the podcast. But I think the way I've been doing it recently is if I go, I might talk about that on the podcast, then that's the thing that gets cut. So, outside of some of the things that I was going to talk about, I think that's everything from the week. Randomly started watching a TV show. Random may be not the right word. It was on a list of, here's a list of TV shows that I've heard are very good. Here's something that when I get time to watch a TV show that I might put on at some point in time. High on that list was Atlanta. Now, a little while ago when I was talking about watching Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I was saying about how Donald Glover is a fantastic talent and should be treasured as such. My opinion on that has not changed, obviously. Why would it? Mr. and Mrs. Smith was very good, very enjoyable. It was a good time. But Mr. and Mrs. Smith is kind of like the series that comes after Atlanta. Not like, it's not a sequel or anything. I just mean Atlanta, very much a Donald Glover TV show. So I watched the first 2 episodes, and episode 1, absolute banger. Great cast. You've got Donald Glover. You've got Zazie Beetz, better known for a role in Deadpool and Joker. And the guy that played, was it Tangerine? The guy from Bullet Train that wasn't Aaron Taylor Johnson, the 2 brothers. Obviously, very much enjoyed his role in Bullet Train. So I was like, I can only imagine he's going to be good in this. And so far, has been. Episode 1, cracking start to a series, really enjoyable, really sets up, in a lot of ways, sets up sort of Donald Glover's character and the characters around him. Weird sort of dynamic between him and Zazie Beetz' character. They have a child together, but they're not together, which is strange. And yeah, first episode, banger. I'm like, yes, we've found ourselves a series. There's 4 series. We're off to the races. Episode 2, proper weird. Like, proper weird. Like, Leanne got to the end of the episode. She was like, okay, so second episode, filler. I was like, I don't know if you'd call it filler. It was just weird. Like, a crime happens in the first episode. And in the second episode, they start by dealing with the fact that this crime has happened, whilst simultaneously not dealing with it in any way, shape, or form. They don't address it. They don't tell you what happened. There is no closure to that crime in any way, shape, or form. And then it just gets even weirder from there. And yes, it was like, okay, this is interesting. You know, it's a bit weirder than I thought it was going to be, but yeah, okay, fine, all right, okay. And you get to the end of the episode and you're just like, I'm not sure what I just watched. So that was that. 2 episodes in, and it's been a mixture of, well, that was great, and you're just left scratching your head like, what did I just watch? So yeah, not sure on that one. If it carries on like that, I think we'll lose Leanne. She won't be able to handle it if it continues down that sort of route. I watched a movie, and I don't know what I think about this movie, and my gut feeling, my gut reaction was I didn't like it. Now, this is coming off the back of me talking about how I'd watched like a series of absolute bangers, and I'm pretty sure I told my eldest that I was watching this film, and I was like, it's going to be another banger, I can tell you right now. Would appear I was wrong on that one. I watched Weird Al, the Al Yankovic story. Weird Al is one of those people for me that is not necessarily for me. I've never had much of an issue with Weird Al's music, other than it always felt a bit silly to me, a bit childish. However, a friend of mine absolutely mad on it. I'm sure that he's seen him in concert, and I was like, wow. But often music that you're not a fan of is very much like that. Sometimes you wonder why you know. I don't understand boy bands. I understand that they tick a certain box for certain people, just not for me. So that is my experience of Weird Al. However, I became very much aware of the film when it was originally sort of mentioned, and I was like, oh, that was interesting. They cast Daniel Radcliffe as Weird Al. I was like, good casting. And that was kind of that. Then it sort of went away. And then it came back. There was a trailer involved. Weird Al is in it. And it's like, okay, cool. This is looking interesting. I think I'm looking forward to this. I think I'm going to enjoy this. It had a cinema run, pretty sure. And then, luckily for me, it appeared on Prime for free. I was like, bingo, bango, I'm going to get that watched. And that I did. At some point in time, I heard that the film itself was a parody of itself. And I was like, okay, I kind of... It's kind of to be expected. My biggest issue was spending the entire film going, well, I have to presume that none of this is real because none of it seems real. But then if none of it's real, how does any of this connect to what is real? Is this all just completely fabricated and has no relevance on what's real? Because then if that's the case, then what are we doing here? And honestly, as far as a cast is concerned, it was an absolute banger of a cast. Now, admittedly, a large number of the cast were cameos. Let me get you the cast list and we can go through it together. So, Diedrich Bader narrates the film. Daniel Radcliffe as Weird Al. Lin-Manuel Miranda as Doctor. Rainn Wilson is in it throughout as Dr. Demento. Who else can we see as a... Weird Al is in it. Will Forte, Peyton Oswald. Conan O'Brien, Jack Black. Seth Green. Yeah, that seems to be... Yeah. So, I think we can all agree on that one. Banger of a cast. Like I say, a lot of those were cameos at a particular party. I think my issue was that I got so far through it and I realised that it was basically all just parody. And then I was like, so what's the point to this? And I again, like I say, I do get it. But at the same time, I was just like, what is the point here? And honestly, I really wanted to like it. I really wanted to say, oh, it was great. It was wonderful. I have started a film off the back of this, which I was like, this film is going to be a monster. It's going to be a juggernaut. So, and it's a film that I contemplated going to the cinema to see, and I was super happy that it came up on Prime to watch. And I was like, I'm gonna watch it. And it's long. I'm pretty sure it's 3 hours, and all of this. And I have started it, and so far, it's not been great. I'm like, geez, man. So what I will say is, I'm watching that at the moment, but it's going to take me a while to get through, and I might not even be talking about it this time next week. So, yeah, it needs to sort itself out though, because otherwise it's going to get another bad review. Weird Al, honestly, I don't know that I could recommend it. If you're a Weird Al fan, I'm sure you'll get more out of it than I would. But yeah, it was just a shame. It was just a shame. Computer games. I have been playing Immortals of Avium. I mentioned it to somebody today, somebody who enjoys the odd computer game here or there, and immediately they switched to talking about all the negatives. And I was like, I can't imagine you've played it, so I imagine you are going off the back of what I presume are a series of reviews or things you may have seen about the game. And personally, what I was going to say about this game is, I honestly don't know how this game has got as far as it has. I don't really remember it being released. I don't really remember it being publicised in any way, shape or form. I don't remember seeing any promotional material for this game. I don't even remember seeing a review at the time it came out. I was aware of it. That was it. And the reason that I never paid it really any attention was I had to presume it wasn't good because I saw nothing about it. And that was that. And then, as I think I may have mentioned, it popped up on a Hidden Gems YouTube video, which I watched, and I went, I've either played or seen every single one of these games, some of them recently, apart from this one. And I watched the stuff about it, and I was like, this game strikes me as a good game. And I think I may have mentioned like last week that I downloaded a trial for it, and I played the trial, and the trial was really long, and I really got into it. And then they were like, oh, you can have the game, you can pay for the game, you can have the special edition for like 28 quid or something. I'm like, cool. Or I can buy it from Amazon for £9 something, which is what I ultimately did. Got it, stuck the disc in, and carried on with the game from there. A few things about this game. it's a gorgeous looking game. It is a beautiful game. It takes you to some amazing locations that look amazing. Even things like there are points in time where you have to wander around like your base, your home sort of, and it's massive. And you go through like 50 doors just to get to your bedroom. And the place is beautiful. All so far of the scenery and things like that look beautiful. The big ticket item is that they've got Gina Torres as one of the main characters, and the motion capture stuff is all amazing. Like, the characters look amazing. At the start, when you first put it on, it tells you that it was a game that was made by a small team of people, and they've really tried their best to bring you a great product. And I'm like, how is this game as good as it is off the back of, small team people, etc., etc.? Now, I will always say, one of my favourite all-time ever games was made by a team of less than 20 people, I believe. Ghost Recon Wildlands, I think it was something like 16 or 19 people made that game. Versus Breakpoint, which was like hundreds of people, and it came out to largely negative reviews. Mostly from yours truly. Immortals of Avium, however, first-person shooter using magic rather than guns. You've got shields and like these sort of like blaster type things that come from your hands. You've got if you press both sticks in at once, you've got like a supercharged attack. You can do like special attacks, like throwing like a wall of stone or electricity, or do like a super punch type thing. You've got like a rope, which you can either use for traversal or pulling enemies closer. You've got like this amulet that sends out like a blast, like a laser blast. There is a third one which sends out limpets, apparently. I have absolutely no idea what it does, other than the fact that I used it at one point in time to slow down a box. Outside of that, absolutely no idea what it does. I'm sure the game told me, and I'm sure I went, cool, and paid no attention to it. The story was doing this thing that I really don't like in like TV or movies, or especially games, which is there's a character and we think you don't know who it is. And I'm like, yes, but I definitely know who that character is. So the longer this goes on, the more you're annoying me. What's nice is when I was playing the game last night, they just suddenly went, oh, that's that character that you knew it was. And I was like, oh, thank the maker. We've finally got over that hurdle. Honestly, I was thinking about this while I was walking the dog earlier. I was like, this is a solid 7 out of 10 game. And honestly, where I am in my life right now, I will take your hand clean off at the wrist for a 7 out of 10. I feel where we are at this point in time that there is so much that is so bad and so mediocre that 7 out of 10 is like a breath of fresh air to me. This game is not too much like other things I've played, and quite frankly, I am here for this. Now, as we know, games have a tendency to shift on me when I say that they're good. So I fully expect to now no longer be able to finish this game. But I can tell you this, it keeps me coming back to it. It keeps me playing the PlayStation. It keeps me engaged and enjoying it. And honestly, yeah, it's just nice. Just nice to play something that's just good. And that sounds weird in itself. Speaking of good, for the second time now, I have finished all that is available of Into the Radius 2. Honestly, it's made things difficult for me because this is the game that I want to be playing. The devs have teased that there will be 2 updates between now and the end of the year. However, they have sort of said and managed the expectations of people by saying that there will be no new areas this year, which honestly, as we have just ticked over into September, that is a bit of a blow. I feel for the game itself. I don't think or feel that as a game, in the current position it's in, it can really survive going into next year. It's great. Don't get me wrong. It's great. But I am probably at a point now where I've got everything I can from it because there's nothing else for the game to give me. All the missions that it will give from this point on are all the same. Just in different locations slightly, but they're all the same at this point now. So basically, this game is done for me. I've played it twice at this point. I've messed around. I did some the other night I did a crazy sort of build where I took a little backpack and I took a different chest rig and I took like handguns, and I was just like, when the handgun was empty, I just dropped it on the floor and all that sort of thing, just for a bit of fun. But I've done all that now. And I've recently seen a game that is basically Into the Radius without being called Into the Radius. It's an early access, and it's sort of intriguing. It's not very many pennies, and it's something that I might give a whirl to. But, and obviously I understand how difficult it is to develop these games. What I would say is, it's an interesting take for the developers to say there'll be no new area this year. I kind of hope that's them throwing people off the scent and sort of, back end of November, early December, they'll drop a new area just out of the blue and be like, here's an early Christmas present for you. But who knows? There's a sale on the Quest store. I don't want to be that guy. But there seems to be a sale on every month at the moment. I'm not complaining. It does feel weird. I've picked up bits and pieces here and there. I can get a little bit of discount on the meta stuff at the moment. So I've been, utilising that. There's this game that's been floating around. I've seen a ton of videos from it, and every one of the videos just makes me laugh. And it came up, and it was on sale, and I was like, it's the number 1 top-selling game. It's got over 11,000, not like reviews, but like star ratings. And it's like a 4.8 out of 5. And then it had like the best part of 300 reviews. And I'm like, I think I'm going to have to give it a whirl. The game is I Am Security. And you're just security. You're a bouncer on a nightclub door, and people come up and you have to like scan them for weapons or random items. You've got a tattoo removal thing. You've got a water gun for you to clean up the people. You can stamp them to say they can go in, or you can stamp to say they can't go in. You've got you can shave them. You can regrow hair. There's all of these different things. But every now and then someone turns up to the door just holding a gun or a knife, and you're like, yeah, you can't go into the nightclub holding that, buddy, so let me take that from you. And you can sort of, if somebody's giving you a bit of whatever, giving you the eye, you can give them a cheeky slap. And it's just absolutely hilarious. I played it a little while, and it was just proper bonkers fun. Which, like I keep saying, it's nice and novel to have things that are fun these days, which is just such a sad state of affairs, but it unfortunately is what it is. So yeah. I did buy another game, which I haven't actually given a whirl to yet, so I'll probably get around to that at some point in time. But yeah, there we go. That is the podcast this week. Yeah, I hope nobody was offended by certain things. But yeah, there we go. Right. Thank you very much. I'll catch you next time. There we go. What do you think of that? Another one done, another one gone. Thank you for listening. Hope certain subject matter wasn't too much. I presume if you've made it this far, it wasn't. So there's that. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you. You can help the podcast out with likes, share, subscribe, comment, leave reviews, and check out the website, thecookiecast.com. There we've got social media links and an email button, and that way you can get in touch with us. Right, that's it for this one. Until next time, I'm going to say bye, and I will see you then.
How awesome is that? So awesome. You gotta like, share and subscribe.